For what feels like the better part of a year now, the conversation around AI and work, well, it's been dominated by one overriding question, hasn't it?
Definitely.
Is AI coming for your job? We've all heard the headlines, seen those projections about what we might lose, entry-level positions, maybe middle management, those repetitive tasks that fill up so much of our workdays.
Hmm.
It's like this quiet hum of anxiety. You feel it everywhere. Offices, co-working spaces, even home offices.
It's an incredibly powerful fear and totally understandable. I mean, the pace of AI's advancement feels almost dizzying sometimes.
It really does.
But that dominant narrative, the scary one, while it definitely has elements of truth, it only tells part of the story.
Okay.
So our mission today is really to go far beyond those initial headlines. We want to equip you, our listener, with a much more nuanced and frankly a more empowering understanding of this landscape because it is evolving so rapidly. We're embarking on a deep dive into the truly fascinating, complex, and often contradictory world of AI's impact on employment. Is it just a job killer? Or is it actually a job creator?
Or something else entirely.
Or perhaps something even more profound, something that's maybe redefining the very essence of what human work even is.
Okay, let's really try and unpack this then. To do that, we've pulled together, well, an extraordinary collection of sources for this deep dive.
We really have.
We're talking about deeply researched reports from places like the New York Times Magazine, sharp, rigorous analysis from global financial powerhouses, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs.
Top-tier analysis there.
Exactly. And also forward-thinking studies from organizations like FutureWork, Indeed, and ZDNet. These aren't just, casual opinions tossed out there.
Not at all. They're packed with research-backed insights, expert perspectives, and when you piece them all together, they paint a significantly fuller picture for us, much more than just the headlines.
So the central question for us, and for you listening, is, what does all of this actually mean? We're going to explore how AI is already making its mark on the workforce, looking at some concrete examples of disruption.
But maybe even more interestingly, we'll try to uncover what new jobs are not just emerging, but truly being invented, like right now, right before our eyes.
And crucially, we'll distill the essential skills you'll need to cultivate to not just survive, but to really thrive as this technological tide keeps shifting and reshaping our professional world.
It's about understanding the present reality, but also proactively preparing for the opportunities that are definitely lying ahead.
Yeah.
Setting the stage, the evolving AI and work conversation.
So let's begin by really setting the stage here, because what's been striking over the last year or so is how much the conversation around AI and work has actually, shifted.
It really has evolved.
For a long time, the dominant narrative, like we just touched on, was purely about replacement. It was that fear. AI taking over roles, particularly those entry-level positions, admin tasks, even some managerial functions that involved, highly repetitive decisions. It really felt like we were all just bracing for what we stood to lose.
And that initial narrative was, and look, it continues to be a very real and valid part of the discussion. It influences everything, right? Corporate strategy, your individual career planning.
Sure.
However, what we've seen more recently is this compelling and I think increasingly powerful reframing of that conversation.
Okay, how so?
Robert Capps, in his piece for the New York Times Magazine, it's really deeply reported, he brings this shift right to the forefront. He challenges us to consider a pretty radical new possibility.
Which is?
What if AI isn't just replacing jobs? What if it's actively inventing entirely new ones?
Wow, okay, inventing jobs.
Yeah, and this isn't just wishful thinking. It's a perspective that fundamentally changes the lens, the way we view AI's impact on the economy and just on our daily work lives.
That's a fascinating paradigm shift. And when you dive into our stack of sources, like you said, you immediately see this clear tension playing out, this core debate.
Exactly. There's a real push and pull.
On one side, you've got voices strongly emphasizing the immediate potential for job displacement. Michael Feroli, he's the chief U.S. economist at JP Morgan, he really encapsulates this. He says, and I'm quoting, "The discussion about AI taking jobs, or at least good jobs, is generally framed as tomorrow's problem."
Right, the future threat.
However, he says, there are some hints that AI may already be taking knowledge worker jobs.
That's a pretty stark warning, isn't it? It suggests for some the future isn't just coming, it's kind of already here.
Yeah, immediate. Right. And then on the other side of this debate, you have a noticeably more optimistic, or maybe just a more tempered view from institutions like Goldman Sachs, for example.
Right, a different take.
Their analysis predicts that the overall impact on employment levels will probably be modest and relatively temporary.
Which seems to stand in direct contrast, doesn't it, JP Morgan hinting at knowledge workers being displaced now, and Goldman saying, it'll be modest and temporary.
Exactly. So how do we reconcile these views? They seem totally conflicting. Are jobs disappearing right now, or are the overall effects going to be minimal, fleeting, maybe quickly absorbed by new opportunities?
And that's the crux of it, isn't it? That's the big question we need to grapple with.
This isn't just some academic exercise. It's about understanding the real forces shaping our careers, our economic future. How do you hold both truths, current disruption, and long-term optimism in your mind at the same time?
That's precisely where this deep dive gets really interesting. Because the truth, as it so often is with these huge societal shifts, is likely far more nuanced than either extreme suggests.
So we need to explore the evidence behind both sides. Let's start with where we are seeing those early signs of change, the displacement argument. The displacement argument, evidence of job loss and market shifts. Okay, let's dive headfirst into that displacement argument then, because our sources do highlight some very early, but yeah, pretty significant signs of disruption.
They definitely do.
One of the most striking pieces of data for anyone watching the labor market comes straight from JP Morgan. They point to this, well, frankly, worrying trend of rising unemployment among recent college graduates.
Yeah, the data here is incredibly telling. And quite unusual, actually. JP Morgan indicates the unemployment rate for college grads, specifically ages 22 to 27, climbed to 5.8% as of March 2025.
Wow.
Which is the highest point it's reached in over 4 years if you exclude the, totally weird pandemic period.
Right.
But what's particularly compelling and maybe a bit counterintuitive based on history is that Murat Tashi, a senior U.S. economist there, notes this rate is trending above the aggregate rate.
Which is weird because usually a degree protects you, right?
Yeah.
It keeps your rate below average.
Exactly. Typically, a college degree has offered a significant buffer against unemployment. So this reversal is, well, it's a red flag for economists. Something's different.
And it's not just a general rise across all graduates, is it?
No, and that's a key point. Tassi and his team looked closer and found this impact is disproportionately hitting graduates from specific AI-exposed majors.
Ah, okay. Like what?
Fields like computer engineering, graphic design, industrial engineering, even architecture. These have seen significant increases in graduate unemployment.
So it's not random. It's pinpointing areas where AI's capabilities are starting to directly overlap with, maybe even replace, tasks usually done by humans entering those fields.
That's the critical distinction, precisely. Tassi's analysis suggests that, quote, new entrants from those majors could be at a greater disadvantage, as experience could offset some of the skills that are now obsolete with AI-performed tasks.
Okay, that makes sense. So an experienced architect might use AI as a tool.
Right, to speed things up, maybe explore more options.
But a new grad, maybe their entry-level drafting or modeling tasks, AI can just do those now.
Potentially, yeah. Or at least reduce the need for as many entry-level hires doing that specific work. It really underscores this growing challenge for new graduates who might lack those very specific new AI complementary skills that are becoming vital right from day one.
It's a skills mismatch then, but like supercharged by technology.
Dramatically accelerated, yes.
And it's not just recent grads, right? We're also seeing job growth slowing in specific corners of the tech industry itself, which is surprising given tech's usual trajectory.
It really is. After years of really robust, consistent job gains, industries like cloud services, web search, computer systems design, JP Morgan's analysis shows they essentially stopped growing at the end of 2022.
End of 2022. And for anyone following tech news, that timing is pretty striking, isn't it?
It jumps right out.
Because that's exactly when ChatGPT was released publicly.
Yeah.
Kicked off this whole intense wave of generative AI adoption. It's hard to ignore that timing.
It's almost a perfect correlation. And Michael Feroli from JP Morgan directly attributes this slowdown to AI automating labor. He notes the rapid development of large language models led to products automating certain functions, especially code assistance.
Like GitHub Copilot and things like that.
Exactly. And it fundamentally reshaped business strategies for these companies. Now, he does acknowledge some of this decline could be a payback from maybe overhiring during the pandemic tech boom.
A market correction.
Yeah, a kind of correction. But the fact that tech's employment share has now fallen below its pre-pandemic trend, that strongly suggests AI automation is playing a significant structural role here.
It's not just a temporary blip. It hints at a deeper shift.
A systemic change. But, and this is a crucial nuance, Sesto, JP Morgan makes sure to point out overall AI adoption across the broader economy is still, well, relatively low.
Right. Where were the numbers?
As of mid-2025, less than 10% of firms in the overall economy are regularly using AI. That figure does rise a bit to just over 20% in professional, scientific, and technical industries, which makes sense.
Okay, so less than 10% overall. That's lower than you might think, given the hype.
It is. So, while we are seeing these early tremors of disruption, particularly in those highly susceptible areas, the full seismic shift definitely still yet to unfold. These are just the initial indicators, the first waves hitting the shore.
That low overall adoption rate is probably why, so far, JP Morgan hasn't found much connection between AI intensity and job growth outside of those selected tech industries.
Exactly. It's highly concentrated for now, like you said, in those specific tech sectors and those AI-exposed majors for grads. But that concentration gives us a clear, if still small, window into what might become a much broader trend as AI tools get more widespread and sophisticated everywhere.
Okay, so if AI is causing some displacement, even localized for now, what occupations are most at risk? Do the sources agree on this?
They provide remarkably consistent lists, actually. Goldman Sachs, for instance, they estimate a baseline displacement rate of about 6–7% of the U.S. workforce if AI becomes widely adopted.
6 to 7%.
But with a potential range swinging from maybe 3% up to as high as 14% under different assumptions about how fast and how deep adoption goes.
Wow, 14%.
Yeah.
That's a huge chunk of the workforce potentially facing disruption.
It absolutely is. And when you look at the lists from JP Morgan, Goldman, Oxford University, a very clear pattern emerges. It's the jobs with tasks that are highly repetitive, predictable, or easily automatable. Those are the most vulnerable.
Okay, give us some examples.
Well, computer programmers, which surprises some people because AI can now generate pretty decent code. Accountants, auditors, bookkeepers, they deal with highly structured data, perfect for AI.
Right.
Legal and administrative assistance AI can draft documents, manage schedules. Customer service agents, representatives, chatbots can handle a lot of common queries now.
Makes sense. What else?
Think about roles like telemarketers, proofreaders,
Right.
copy editors, jobs involving generating, checking, or sifting through large volumes of fairly standardized text.
Yeah, language models are good at that.
Very good. Even credit analysts, their work involves analyzing structured data. Receptionists, AI virtual assistants are getting more capable. And in sales, especially advertising and retail, a lot has already shifted online, reducing the need for some traditional human salespeople.
And it goes on, right? Roles involving research and analysis, especially like data sorting, initial analysis.
Exactly. That initial pass can often be automated. Warehouse work, we see automation and robotics booming in order fulfillment. Insurance underwriting, again, processing vast amounts of data for assessments.
And even just everyday stuff, like self-checkout stations in supermarkets. That's a really visible example, isn't it? Automation replacing tasks humans used to do.
Right there in front of you. And this isn't just a short-term blip we're talking about. PwC offers a longer-term view. They estimate up to 30% of jobs could be automatable by the mid-2030s.
30%, that's huge.
It is. And what's particularly interesting sociologically is their observation about a potential gendered impact.
How so?
They suggest women might be at greater risk in the earlier waves of automation because they're more highly represented in clerical and administrative roles, jobs often involving highly routine tasks.
Okay.
Men, on the other hand, could face greater risks in later waves as more manual tasks get automated. Think transportation, construction, maybe with autonomous vehicles and robotics. It paints a picture of evolving risk, not just a static one.
That brings us to a particularly concerning point raised by Mirat Tashi at JT Morgan. He talks about the risk of a jobless recovery.
Yes, he warns quite explicitly that AI could potentially prolong the recovery of the labor market in the event of a downturn. And this isn't just, a theoretical worry. It has very real, unsettling historical parallels.
Right, you mentioned the 1980s.
Exactly. Tassi reminds us that back then, automation driven by earlier technologies led to what economists called jobless recoveries for those middle-skill, routine jobs, sales, manufacturing, maintenance.
Oh, here.
The economy would start to improve after a recession, GDP would bounce back, but employment in those specific sectors lagged way behind. It took longer and longer for those jobs to recover. People got left behind even as the overall economy grew.
And the worry now is AI could do the same, but to different kinds of jobs.
That's the disturbing trend Tashi highlights. AI is now exposing non-routine cognitive occupations, roles like scientists, engineers, designers, even lawyers to similar risks. These were jobs we thought were safe, needing complex human thought.
Because they weren't routine.
Right. But as Tassi notes, as the cost of adaptation comes down with the wide dissemination of AI tools, these traditionally high-wage occupations might come under pressure. The very definition of routine is expanding, pulling more complex cognitive work into AI's reach.
And what's truly alarming, real shifts from historical patterns, is that the unemployment risk for workers in these non-routine cognitive jobs has actually surpassed that of workers in non-routine manual jobs.
Think about that. The jobs we thought were bulletproof, scientists, engineers, lawyers statistically, they're now facing a higher unemployment risk than even some manual labor roles.
That's staggering.
Tassi calls this a changing pattern that might be indicative of rising unemployment risks for these workers going forward. It means the whole nature of safe work is being redefined. Those we considered immune now have an elevated risk profile.
So, this combination of factors suggests a jobless recovery could happen again, and as Tashi put it, look pretty dismal for these traditionally secure knowledge workers.
It's a sobering thought, definitely, and it really underscores the urgent need for proactive adaptation, not just for individuals, but for education systems, for governments too. 3, the creation argument. New roles and opportunities driven by AI.
Okay, that sobering look at potential displacement gives us plenty to think about. But like with any major tech shift, disruption often seeds innovation, doesn't it?
It often does, historically speaking.
So what if AI isn't just about replacement? What if it's also a catalyst for entirely new kinds of human work? Let's turn our attention now to the really fascinating evidence of AI as an invention engine.
Yes. This is where Robert Capps' analysis in the New York Times Magazine really shines. He moves beyond just the job killer story.
So he's not just theorizing.
No, he identifies 22 entirely new AI-era jobs, and he cleverly organizes them around 3 really interesting emerging themes: trust, integration, and taste.
Trust, integration, and taste.
Okay. And these aren't just minor tweaks to old roles. They seem to be fundamentally new categories of work, needing a different blend of skills. Eric Brynjolfsson offers a great analogy here. He suggests that we are all becoming CEOs of our own AI teams.
I like that. CEOs of our own AI teams.
It implies these emerging roles aren't just about technical chops. They demand emotional intelligence, ethical judgment, and entrepreneurial spirit, almost empowering us to direct AI, not be directed by it.
That's a huge mindset shift, isn't it? Putting the human back in the driver's seat. So let's break down these new job categories. First up, trust.
Right. It's clear AI can automate decisions incredibly fast, accurately sometimes. But as our sources consistently emphasize, AI cannot shoulder accountability.
That stays human.
It has to. And this creates a significant growing demand for roles that blend ethical reasoning, technical insight, and solid human judgment. We need people to ensure AI systems are responsible, fair, accurate, explainable.
Like if an AI recommends a medical treatment or approves a loan.
Exactly. A human still needs to be ultimately accountable for that decision, explain it, stand by it. Examples of these roles include AI auditors, people who scrutinize AI for fairness, bias, trust authenticators verifying the integrity of AI-generated content or decisions.
Are these jobs actually appearing now?
They're already becoming critical, yeah. Especially in sensitive areas like healthcare, finance, law, where mistakes or misuse have severe consequences. ZDNet adds another one here, the AI integrity analyst.
Okay, what do they do?
Their job is guarding against insecure code, biased outputs, ensuring accuracy, safety, making sure the AI aligns with company goals and ethics. It's about building confidence in these systems from the ground up.
Makes perfect sense. You need that human check, that ethical compass.
Right.
Okay, the second category Capps identified is integration.
Right. Because brilliant technology doesn't automatically translate into transformation within a company.
Just having the tech isn't enough.
Not at all. You absolutely need new kinds of professionals to make AI work at scale within these complex organizations. They bridge the gap between the cutting-edge tech and the messy reality of day-to-day operation.
Like AI plumbers, that sounds practical.
It's a humorous name, but the role is incredibly strategic. They're the ones connecting complex AI systems to the broader business strategy, ensuring data flows right, making sure AI outputs actually get integrated into existing workflows so they add value.
Yeah.
You also need trainers people to help human teams understand, adapt to, interact effectively with AI tools. They help transform how people approach their daily tasks, and maybe most intriguingly, personality directors.
Personality directors.
For AI. Yeah. To ensure these tools aren't just functional, but also usable, intuitive, valuable in real-world operations, making sure the AI feels right to the humans using it.
Wow.
And ZDNet offers even more specific examples here. The AI agent interaction architect, designing how AI agents interact with each other, with systems, and crucially, with humans. The AI agent orchestration lead, managing the deployment of autonomous software agents working together. The autonomous system integrator, orchestrating these really complex multi-agent AI systems.
It sounds like science fiction, but these are real emerging roles.
They are, and practical ones too, like factory intelligence architect or manufacturing agent coach popping up in industrial settings to optimize AI on production lines.
Those titles alone tell a story of a radically different future, don't they? Okay, the third category CAPS points to is taste.
Yes, AI can generate an astonishing amount of content, text, images, code, you name it.
We're already seeing that flood.
Exactly. But in a world potentially flooded with machine-made content, AI kind of levels the playing field in terms of just raw output. Humans, however, are still absolutely essential for setting the vision, providing that spark of unique creativity, shaping content that truly stands out, that resonates emotionally, that has that certain something.
That je ne sais quoi, the human touch.
Precisely. If AI can produce infinite variations, the human ability to define the core narrative, the emotional tone, the unique style, the why behind the content becomes even more valuable. This creates demand for roles like story designers and world builders.
Who crafts the overarching narratives, the backstories, the user experiences that AI then helps realize?
Exactly. Even in fields like HR or education, the ability to make meaningful decisions becomes a defining skill. AI provides data, options, but humans interpret, act with discernment, empathy, strategic judgment.
ZDNet has more examples here too.
They do. The AI audience strategist uses AI to analyze behavior, predict formats, but a human still defines the creative direction. The AI behavior architect designs agent tone, ethics, handles edge cases, ensures alignment with human values.
So shaping the AI's personality, essentially.
In a way, yes. Then there's the multimodal AI designer creating seamless interfaces across voice, gesture, text, image, touch, prompt ethnographers, basically UX researchers studying how AI is used across cultures, prompt scene editors refining AI content for that crucial human feel, framing, tone, coherence, and synthetic reality producers curating entire AI-generated environments or narratives for training, entertainment, whatever.
It's incredible, a whole new ecosystem of roles.
And one more crucial one, ZDNet mentions, the AI enablement partner.
Okay, what's that?
This is someone helping non-technical teams, sales, marketing, ops, effectively adopt AI into their daily work, translating the tech into real business value. They need to understand organizational behavior, change management, applied AI literacy.
So like a translator and coach combined.
Exactly. Diagnosing barriers, designing onboarding, providing coaching, making AI accessible and useful to everyone, not just the tech gurus, which is vital for getting widespread adoption.
These new roles really underscore Goldman Sachs' more optimistic outlook, don't they?
They absolutely do. Their research reiterates that the overall impact on employment will likely be transitory because, as they put it, new job opportunities created by the technology ultimately put people to work in other capacities.
And they estimate generative AI could raise productivity by how much?
By approximately 15% across the U.S. and other developed markets when it's fully adopted. That's a huge leap in economic efficiency.
15% is monumental. And Goldman reinforces this with that historical perspective, which really should give us pause before panicking.
It's a powerful reminder. They state predictions that technology will reduce the need for human labor, have a long history, but a poor track record.
And the stat about jobs that didn't exist in 1940.
Astonishing, right? Approximately 60% of U.S. workers today are in occupations that didn't exist in 1940, which implies over 85% of employment growth since then is technology-driven. New tech creating new jobs, new industries.
So while they acknowledge frictional unemployment, that transition period where people need to find new roles, new skills.
Right, that adjustment phase. They note that historically, this transitional unemployment tends to disappear after 2 years.
2 years, okay.
It suggests that while there will absolutely be adjustments, reskilling challenges, periods of discomfort, the long-term trend, based on a century of tech innovation, is consistently towards net job creation, not permanent displacement.
That's a powerful argument for long-term optimism then, but tempered with understanding the short-term pain.
Exactly. Long-term optimism, short-term realism about the challenges ahead. Adapting to the AI era. Skills and strategies for individuals.
Okay, so we've covered potential displacement, exciting creation. But for you, the listener, what does this actually mean for your career right now? How do you practically adapt? The imperative, it seems, is firmly on human adaptation. It's about you.
Indeed. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella makes a crucial point here. He states quite plainly, the hardest part of AI transformation is not the technology itself, but changing how people work.
Hmm.
He even says your biggest barrier, behavioral change, not bandwidth.
Wow. So it's not about the tech infrastructure, it's about us changing.
Exactly. The core challenge isn't just implementing the tech, but fundamentally redesigning jobs, teams, daily processes. And that naturally requires a huge shift in human behavior, mindsets, and skills.
And it's not just about learning new tech, is it? It's about how you use it, and maybe how you don't let it diminish your own skills.
That's a critical point Dan Van Rossum raises with his concept of cognitive debt.
Cognitive debt. Explain that.
Think of it like a mental muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. If we let AI do too much of our thinking, summarizing everything automatically, drafting whole reports, doing complex analysis without us really engaging,
And get lazy.
worse than lazy, we risk losing our own capacity for deep critical thought, for active memory retention, for genuine intellectual engagement. Our own cognitive skills can actually decay if we're not careful. It leads to disengagement over reliance.
Okay, that's slightly terrifying. How do we avoid that?
Van Rossum urges a shift from just passively accepting AI output, what he calls a copy-paste culture, to really intentional workflows. Meaning, start with your human insight. Actively challenge the AI outputs. Don't just accept them. Embed reflection rituals into your routine. The goal is to make AI a thinking partner, not a thinking replacement.
So it amplifies your thinking, doesn't weaken it.
Precisely. Be the conductor of the AI orchestra, not just a passive listener.
Okay, so with that in mind, what are the essential skills for this future workforce? What does the roadmap look like?
Our sources are remarkably consistent here, first and foremost. Lifelong learning.
Not optional anymore.
Nexford University and Future Work both say it's essential, not optional. And it's not just a nice phrase. AI skills themselves have a short shelf life. What's cutting edge today might be basic or even obsolete in a few years.
So you have to constantly adapt, keep learning.
Constantly. Proactively seeking out courses, workshops, staying rigorously updated on industry trends. It's a continuous process.
Okay, what else besides constant learning?
Developing your soft skills becomes even more valuable, paradoxically. While AI gets better at routine tasks, even some complex cognitive ones, it is still far from replicating human emotional intelligence and creativity.
The human stuff.
Exactly. Skills like nuanced communication, complex problem solving, especially for problems with no easy answers, real collaboration. These uniquely human capabilities are what will fundamentally set you apart. It's where our distinct value shines.
And then there's agility. Next, we call that the key word, right?
Agility is the undisputed key word for the new job market order, according to them. It's the ability to adapt quickly to changing circumstances, pivot fast.
So flexibility, willingness to learn new things, maybe even change careers.
All of that. Being willing to learn entirely new skills, take on responsibilities outside your comfort zone, maybe pivot to entirely new career paths. The job titles of tomorrow might not even exist today, so that capacity to embrace change is paramount.
Okay, so learn constantly, build soft skills, be agile. What about specialization?
Specialization is becoming increasingly important, but maybe with a twist. As AI gets more common, there will be increasing demand for workers with specialized skills and knowledge. Deep expertise in a particular niche and industry, a process, a unique skill blend can significantly increase your value and differentiate you.
There's a twist.
Anthony Slumbers highlights that AI microtools are actually shifting competitive advantage from technical talent to problem spotters with deep domain expertise.
Okay, so it's not just knowing the tool, it's knowing the problem really well.
Exactly. It's no longer just about how to use the AI, but what problem you uniquely understand and can solve with the AI. That enables you to create, solve, and innovate on your own terms. Be a master of a problem space, not just a tool user.
That's a powerful thought. Problem spotters have the advantage. Now, what's really interesting, maybe challenging some assumptions, is who is actually leading this adaptation effort right now.
Yeah, the Indeed Work Ahead report had a surprising finding here. Nearly 49% of mid-career professionals aged 35 to 54 outpaced younger peers aged 18 to 24 in AI adoption and staying confident in these new workplaces.
Mid-career folks are adapting faster than digital natives. That is surprising.
It suggests that maybe professional experience and accumulated wisdom are driving a more proactive, effective approach to upskilling. The report also shows 56% of these mid-career pros emphasize training and skill enhancement compared to only 41% of their younger counterparts.
Why do you think that is?
Perhaps those with more professional context, who really understand the strategic implications for their roles in industries, are more quickly recognizing the need to integrate AI and are actively seeking the training to do it confidently. Experience matters.
So, on the flip side of jobs at risk, what jobs seem least likely to be automated? The safer bets, for now.
These are the roles that really require those uniquely human attributes, making them more resilient.
Like what?
Generally, complex judgment in dynamic situations, high emotional intelligence, nuanced human interaction, sophisticated strategic thinking, deep personal experience AI can't replicate, or really fine motor skills in unpredictable environments.
Okay, examples.
Air traffic controllers, immediate complex life or death judgment calls. Chief executives, directors, top managers, leadership involves vision, values, managing human teams. AI can't do that.
Right, healthcare.
Roles like radiologists, pharmacists, surgeons, tech assists them, sure, but the core is connecting with patients, making complex judgments based on years of experience, physical dexterity in critical, unpredictable situations.
You can't automate empathy or that hands-on skill.
Not really. Same for residential advisors, psychologists, psychiatrists. The human touch, emotional support handling delicate personal topics are central. Photographers, artists, writers focused on imaginative fine art, personal style, true creativity, the magic and thrill of creation. That unique perspective is still human.
What else?
Members of the clergy deeply rooted in human spirituality, community. Teachers who inspire, mentor, provide that human connection. Lawyers and judges, AI helps with research, but negotiation, strategy, case analysis, understanding intent, the human factor in complex decisions, especially with high stakes, that remains crucial.
And HR managers.
Despite AI helping with hiring basics, they're vital for motivation, detecting discontent, managing complex people dynamics, fostering culture. And even computer system analysts, they need a human presence for complex maintenance, updates, unique system setups, coordinating specialists. A human still needs to oversee, troubleshoot, adapt when things get weird. V, leading through transformation, organizational shifts and challenges.
Okay, so we've looked at individual strategies. But what about organizations? How are they leading through this massive transformation? What challenges are they hitting at a systemic level? One big one, apparently, is linking employee experience EX to actual measurable ROI.
Yeah, Phil Kirshner highlights a really significant struggle here, one that maybe doesn't get enough attention. He recounts this telling moment at a Future of Work conference where top EX experts, the people who should know, basically went silent when asked how their work ties to measurable business impact.
Oof, that's awkward.
It suggests a fundamental disconnect, right, between wanting a good employee experience and actually demonstrating its value to the business in dollars and cents. Kirshner advocates reframing EX using McKinsey's Organizational Health Index. He says, design backward from business strategy and build people practices that directly enable core capabilities.
Like what kind of capabilities?
Things like successful M&A integration, better frontline enablement, measurable ROI from onboarding new hires. It's about moving beyond just feel-good stuff to strategic initiatives with tangible impact.
That's a crucial shift. Linking sentiment to actual outcomes. Does he give examples?
He does. PepsiCo's facility upgrades directly improved productivity, retention. Campari's culture codification strengthened engagement, brand alignment. Wix's onboarding redesign dramatically sped up time to productivity, deal success for new hires.
Why did those work?
Because they connected EX directly to core business strategy and financial results. His practical advice is great. Before launching your next EX initiative, complete this sentence. If we improve specific EX, we expect specific outcome because business logic.
And then the acid test.
Then test if your executive team would actually sign off on that logic. That's the real proof of strategic alignment.
This pragmatic approach seems to extend to change management too, which sounds like another massive hurdle.
Huge. Brian Elliott highlights a critical gap. Only 25% of managers are trained to lead distributed teams. And even more shocking, only 22% of firms have a clear AI adoption plan, even though executives are pushing hard for AI.
Wow, only 22% have a plan. That's low.
It points to a massive leadership vacuum, just when effective change management is absolutely critical. He proposes a 4-pillar framework as a playbook for mastering both hybrid work and AI transformation.
What are the pillars?
Talent strategy, outcomes-based management, team-centered approach, and learning culture.
Okay. And this isn't just about new policies.
No, it's about embedding these capabilities deep into the organization's DNA. Companies like Airbnb, Udemy, Atlassian, Zapier, they succeed because they bake capability building, team trust, focusing on outcomes right into their operating systems. It's not just top-down mandates.
Oh, it's cultural.
Deeply cultural. Elliott's prompt for leaders is really insightful. Run a solo scorecard. Rate yourself 1 to 4 across the 4 pillars. Were you clear on your why? Focus on outcomes over activity. Co-creating with your team. Learning out loud. It's a call for deep self-reflection.
Another big piece is the AI culture gap, right? The human resistance.
Absolutely. Anthony Onesto makes a really clear point. Most AI resistance isn't technical, it's human. It's rooted in fear, uncertainty, lack of understanding.
So how do you tackle that?
He shows how hackathons, which seem technical, can actually be super effective tools to cut through fear, surface real use cases, and build confidence from the ground up. He notes that developer adoption jumps 20% after hackathon.
Just because people got hands-on and saw it work.
Exactly. But the magic isn't just the prototypes, it's leadership's follow-through. Funding real follow-through, rewarding grassroots innovation, proving AI isn't just a mandate, it's a movement.
And crucially, creating safety.
Yes. He emphasizes psychological safety must come before adoption. Leaders need to proactively open conversations, make it safe to voice concerns, ask questions like, what concerns or unspoken fears do you have about how AI might change your role or value? Or do you feel safe sharing when you're unsure about new tools? If not, what would help?
Building trust paves the way.
It does, and this focus on human factors links directly to maybe the biggest hidden threat: digital debt and data management. Jason Averbook argues forcefully that messy, unstructured tribal data is the real threat to Gen AI adoption. He calls it the digital debt we've ignored for years, all that unorganized info piling up.
And AI won't just magically clean it up?
He completely debunks that myth. He warns AI doesn't fix your mess, it scales it. Poor data quality already costs U.S. firms trillions annually. Imagine amplifying that mess with powerful AI.
Yikes. So what's the solution?
Be proactive. Leaders can use Gen AI now to start tagging, summarizing, structuring that legacy content. Begin the cleanup. It's not just tidying up, it's shifting teams from passive data storage to active data stewardship, treating data like a valuable asset needing curation.
Get your house in order before unleashing the AI beast.
Otherwise, you're just building a superpowered amplifier for your existing problems and chaos.
We're also seeing strong leadership principles emerge from those really navigating this well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Take NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang. He totally defies the old advice to stick to your knitting. Our sources say he discarded business plans twice, boldly pivoting NVIDIA from mainly graphics chips to the essential AI infrastructure provider it is now.
That took guts.
Huge guts. This step-by-step reinvention saw revenues explode from $27 billion to $130 billion in just 2 years. His leadership seems rooted in vision, humility, and the courage to reimagine the company multiple times. A massive lesson in adaptability.
And at PayPal.
Chief People Officer Isabel Cruz provides another great example. During their big transformation, she introduced crucial leadership and career frameworks to align the workforce. She launched 3 leadership principles: people first, customer-centered problem solving, winning together, backed by a bold framework encouraging vision, collaboration, self-investment.
Making growth paths clear.
Exactly. Her team codified career paths with clear skills and proficiency levels, making growth transparent. And AI-powered opportunity matching is next. It's about building a system that empowers people to grow within the change.
Now, within all this organizational change, we also need to acknowledge the specific challenges faced by different groups, like millennials.
Yeah, millennials, now largely in those crucial middle management roles, are reporting the highest burnout rates at 66%.
Good alerts, wow.
It's attributed to a perfect storm: career pressure, caregiving duties for kids and parents, economic strain. They're squeezed, managing up and down during huge shifts like AI adoption. Research suggests this burnout is often rooted in personal stress and lack of social support.
Highlighting the need for real human connection and better leadership support.
Absolutely. Proactive check-ins, real support, not just platitudes.
And then there are the 2025 graduates we talked about earlier, facing the toughest job market in over a decade.
Yeah, that 5.8% unemployment for degree holders aged 22-27, it's a complex mismatch between high education and available roles, economic uncertainty, tariffs, and early AI adoption reducing entry-level hiring, especially in white-collar fields like IT, law, finance.
Where grads usually start. And some firms are even asking teams to justify human hires.
Astonishing, isn't it? Asking why hire a person when AI could do part of this. That's a stark indicator of the pressure on entry-level roles.
But it's not just AI causing this, right?
No, economists stress that. Fed rate hikes cooling the economy, the tech sector correcting after pandemic overexpansion, those are major drivers too. But AI is definitely compounding the challenge for these new grads, making their entry into the workforce much harder than it was for previous generations. Broader societal and economic implications.
Okay, so we've covered individuals, organizations. Let's zoom way out now. Consider the truly massive, broader societal economic implications of AI really taking hold everywhere. The numbers here are just staggering.
They absolutely are. McKinsey Global Institute predicts AI could deliver additional global economic activity of around $13 trillion by 2030.
13 trillion.
Yeah. To put that in perspective, that's about 16% higher cumulative GDP compared to today. Or annually, about 1.2% additional GDP growth per year.
That's huge economic growth.
They suggest this impact would compare well with other massive general-purpose technologies in history. Think steam engine, electricity, the internet. AI is in that league.
And Goldman Sachs echoes this potential.
They do. They estimate generative AI alone could eventually increase the total annual value of goods and services produced globally by 7%.
7% globally from just Gen AI.
Wow. These aren't minor shifts. This is a fundamental reshaping of global economic output. It promises a wave of new wealth creation, potentially higher living standards.
And where do these gains come from?
Mainly two places. Substitution of labor by automation, the efficiency gains we talked about, and crucially, increased innovation in products and services. That second part is key. AI allows for entirely new offerings, markets, solutions we haven't even imagined yet.
So it's not just doing old things faster, it's creating new things.
Exactly. Forbes even suggests AI has the potential to be among the most disruptive technologies across global economies that we will ever develop. That's a profound statement.
This global scale, the geopolitical side, that came up at the World Economic Forum Summer Davos too, right?
It was very evident. They highlighted how AI is leading to flattening hierarchies in organizations, information flows more freely, and a fundamental shift towards skills-based pay, not just paying for a job title.
What else?
Critically, AI agents are set to disrupt work even further, moving beyond just digital twins to the idea of AI-managed teams.
Leadership becomes managing machines too.
Increasingly, yes, managing sophisticated machines and autonomous software. Geopolitically, the forum noted AI Plus is China's edge, highlighting their comprehensive full-stack approach driving rapid industrial AI transformation.
So a new competitive landscape.
The next battleground, they suggest, involves competing development models and open-source ecosystems globally.
But despite political tensions, especially U.S.-China,
the forum strongly emphasized the U.S.-China decoupling is an illusion. Their economies remain deeply interconnected, especially in tech and AI supply chains.
so AI's impact is truly global, like it or not.
It transcends borders, requires international cooperation and understanding, regardless of political wins.
And finally, what enables countries or regions to really capitalize on this?
It was observed that entrepreneurship and innovation, the engines of growth, truly thrive, where policy, talent, and infrastructure align effectively.
The three pillars.
Exactly. Societies that strategically foster supportive regulations, develop a skilled workforce, and build robust digital infrastructure will be far better positioned to capture AI's vast economic potential. It's a call for nations to get their strategic foundations right.
Outros.
So we've really tried to unpack the complex reality of AI's profound impact on the job market today.
It's a lot to take in.
We've journeyed through those very real anxieties of displacement, particularly for new graduates, certain white-collar roles with repetitive tasks, but we've also explored the exciting emergence of totally new job categories, built around those uniquely human pillars: trust, integration, taste. And we've looked at how leaders are navigating this transformation, rethinking employee experience ROI, mastering change management, confronting that critical issue of digital debt.
And crucially, what it means for you, the individual listener, emphasizing lifelong learning, developing those vital soft skills, cultivating that deep sense of agility.
What's truly fascinating here, stepping back for a second, is that while the initial reaction was often just fear AI taking jobs, this deeper dive reveals a much richer, more nuanced story.
A more human story.
Definitely. It's a narrative of adaptation, the forging of entirely new opportunities, and maybe a fundamental redefinition of what human work even means in the 21st century. It's not just about what AI can do, but what it reveals about our unique human value.
And yes, resistance, as some sources suggested, might be fueled futile against such a powerful wave. The tech is here, it's advancing incredibly fast.
But what our deep dive really shows is that embracing AI intentionally, not as a replacement for us, but as that thinking partner, that seems to be the crucial strategy for thriving. Using it to augment, elevate, expand what we can do.
Building a better human with AI, not replacing the human.
Well put.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, thinking about Jason Averbook's stark warning, AI doesn't fix your mess, it scales it.
That really sticks with you.
What responsibility do we as individuals, as organizations, truly have to ensure our human insights, our ethical foundations, our data structures are as robust, as organized, as thoughtfully curated as the AI systems we're implementing?
Because if we don't get our own house in order first,
Right. Are we truly harnessing AI's potential? Or are we just building a superpowered amplifier for our existing challenges, our existing biases, our existing chaos?
that's a question worth pondering, isn't it? As we all move forward into this new, undeniably AI-powered future.